What up? My name is Nyka from nykaTV Games. I'm an animator on Dungeons of the Obelisk. See that? Today I'm presenting my first visual novel game, Puppy the Dog. Puppy the Dog was my first game released this year, and it will probably be the main one I release this year. I really started working on Puppy the Dog actually in response to NaNoReno. I was collaborating with a group of people who I had made the visual novel Delicate Touch with back in February. And we started working on a second visual novel for NaNoReno. I was originally making music for that. Once I got done making music for that, I was still in a music making mood. So I started making more kind of creepy, kind of ambient horror tracks. I was really into Silent Hill at the time, thinking about the soundtracks of old survival horror games on like the PS2 and whatnot. So I decided to make my own visual novel just as kind of a surprise for NaNoReno. Spoiler alert, I didn't end up finishing it for NaNoReno. But, I started working on that. I worked maybe 4 months on Puppy the Dog, and I wanted to go with pre-rendered kind of 3D animated graphics. I didn't want the visual novel to feel as static as most visual novels end up feeling. I had recently played a game called About in Hell, and seeing the animated sprites in that game, seeing all the interesting pre-rendered graphics really inspired me to make my own kind of take on that style. Yeah, so I made all the music, I made all the graphics, I made the story, the character design. Puppy the Dog, of course, was the first character. I very much was kind of inspired by like mascot horror, but I didn't want to go strictly in that direction. I didn't want to make a second Freddy Fazbear's. But again, mentioning the Silent Hill inspiration, I thought of Robbie the Rabbit. He was always a creepy character back in like Silent Hill 3. I believe he popped up in a few games after that, like Silent Hill 4, Silent Hill Homecoming and whatnot. I just always love that design. I always love the artist behind that design. I think his videos and animations are great. I wanted my visual novel to kind of come from a crossroads of both kind of semi-comedy, but like in a creepy way. Like it feels funny, but it's kind of unnerving. That's why I call it silly psychological horror. The idea is that horror is very creepy and unsettling and oppressive. The kind of funnier, lighter kind of awkward atmosphere maybe can kind of keep you from knowing what to expect, maybe keep you a bit off guard. I'm really interested in doing more visual novels, but specifically I'm interested in like interactive fiction. I'm kind of interested in maybe adventure games, kind of like Myst and The Seventh Guest, and old games like Hidden Mansion for Sega CD and Sega Saturn. Those games were a big inspiration to me, and while there's not a whole lot of interactive elements in this one, I want my future visual novels to be definitely more interactive. For this game, I made six separate endings, kind of all different what-if takes on it. One is kind of canon, but you can decide for yourself which one that is. One might seem a little more obviously canon than the others, but again, it's open to interpretation. An artist, I'm really inspired by things like, of course, I'm inspired by David Lynch. I'm inspired by, Cronenberg. I'm inspired by a lot of video games such as Baroque and the games of, Sting Entertainment. A lot of old RPGs like Chrono Trigger, Shin Megami Tensei. I'm very inspired by things like the game Lunacy and Mansion of the Hidden Souls, which are more like FMV interactive games. I just really love kind of archaic design that you don't see brought up as much these days. Everything's either a third-person shooter or a first-person shooter. I mean, those games are fine, and I'm not saying that's all there is, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of niche genres that have either not been returned to as much in modern day, or just, haven't seen as much modern day use. I'm personally, and this is probably my worst take for the whole thing, I'm a big fan of tank controls. And I wish that tank controls were more of a thing in the modern. Everyone wants to do 8-directional free movement, and that's fine, but there's something so deterministic about having to rotate and proceed when you're ready. That kind of tension of the movement and the friction that it brings, I think adds a lot to a game's atmosphere. I think making it too smooth can take away sometimes, rather than add to an experience. So, as nykaTV, I've been making games since, I want to say 2023, although I've made games back as early as the mid-2010s. And originally I started on programs like RPG Maker back in my teens. I've always been interested in creating narratives, creating worlds, but I also want to explore interactive elements and, more gameplay adjacent systems in the future. And I want to make those two things holistic with each other. Tried to explore a lot of genres, from RPGs to adventure games to shoot 'em ups to FPS games. After this, I'm also going to be working on TV Quest, which is a sequel to my game TV Chan's Great Escape. TV Chan's Great Escape was a top-down, kind of Sokoban-style puzzle game where you were escaping an oppressive situation. In the sequel, I definitely want to make it more of an adventure game. There's going to be more combat. Definitely taking some inspiration from games like Zelda, especially Link's Awakening and the Oracle sequels, such as Ages and Seasons. Production on that's going to start really soon, so I hope you all get excited and look forward to that. So the soundtrack for Puppy just got put up on Bandcamp and will be released for free, so you can go and download there. Although if you want to support the show, if you want to support nykaTV, consider donating a little of that. You can also donate to the game. I also have a Patreon, nykaTV Patreon, where you can see your early peeks at my upcoming games. You can get feedback, you can be involved in pre-production, special patron-only bonuses. I've been doing a lot of music this year. I did a music show earlier this year for Headless Blood Idol, which is run by Magenta Skull. Hi, if you're watching this. And I've also done a music show here on Hexen Show, and it was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to maybe do more of those in the future, so definitely look forward to that. Look forward to me being on E333 again, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week.